Chapter Amst, Lost Love, or Love Lost. Dysen's frustration with the crew was felt this time. He had broken up before and got back to it a few times, but this seemed like it lasted final time. Everyone knew who was the president, always talked about how he missed her. But she would get in touch with Ron, find out where he was, and pop up out of nowhere all the time. He felt like they were like oil and water, but one thing he knew for sure was that they loved each other. Truth be told, she made more money than him, and he simply felt less than him, and because of it she was trying to buy him a car, but he wanted to get his driver's license straightened out first and then buy a car. He didn't want to go to jail for not having licenses like before, so he was trying to convince her that if she wanted to do something for him, she could pay to renew his license which cost $500 instead of buying an $800 car. If he got his license renewed, he could get a better job and buy his own car. One of Ron's friends who owned a few bed and breakfasts, Melva doesn't get on of his plates, one requested a friend so he could be closer to town in the Atlanta's western neighborhood. He was there with many college students from all over the world, and there were just a handful of lieutenants who were not in college. He had befriended a few guys from Botswana, who would take weekend trips to different colleges and they would take him with him. West Virginia, Ohio, Florida. One of the guys was named Edwin Cher, would make him go with him, to keep his mid busy in the 50 court. Mammalian just burst out laughing, hold on. She continued to loud, hold on. You forgot to tell you about the time Ron talked us and get to a gay club. This was before he moved in with the court. Dysenga was downstairs, and Ron had called him, Dysenga, yo. Man. If you go to the club, if you wanna go, get ya. Dysenga walked up the stairs, said, wake on. And Rahulet? Demons and pills. High grand. Which on? Ron smelled, Nather. Downtown. Dysenga passed and gave Ron a craggy look, with the highest pitch on can imagine, Nagia. You ain't going to your kind of club. Ron looked like he was high inside. Now man, you just did you come up there until Jonathan come around, got you. He's going out of town and you need to give him $500. You didn't want him to be running around the club all night looking for me because he's already late for his flight. Just sit at the bar and leave when he leaves. They arrived at the club and Dysenga was just looking at the cars. These motherfuckers got money. Ron shook his head. Oh yeah. These are popular professionals. Athletes, singers, actors, businessmen and women and all kinds of folks. And they don't mind spending it. Ron gave Dysenga $50. Here this is for you until Jonathan arrives, and this is for Jonathan. Just hang out at the bar. And if anybody approach you, Dysenga sighed, Nagia, ik know. Approaching the bar, Dysenga raised his hand to the bartender, women cock, placed a stringer looked at the bartender, put it on my tab. Dysenga looked at the man, thanks, but I'm not gay, you will only be here for a little while, waiting on a friend's friend. He saw a beautiful woman across from him smiling, you can't seem to get a break, you see. Dysenga smelled, not in her. Are you? He passed because he didn't want to offend but she smelled, yes, I'm a woman. Before he knew it he was sitting next to her, but as soon as he sat down another beautiful woman tapped him on the shoulder, yo, me nigga, that's me bitch. He just sat there and was approached 3 more times before looking for Ron, this motherfucker's very aggressive as hell in her. Hell, they are worse than Smithy's, ill about it and when Jonathan gets her, him carry me as home. Don't you ask me to come out here again. Ever. Right when he got outside, not knowing Jonathan was already there and seen him going out the door, Jonathan tapped him on the shoulder. Man, Dysenga, how did was someone else and knocked Jonathan straight out? Mammalian laughed even harder, him and missed his flight and everything, what cold inside called this, concrete. After Mammalian finished laughing, she wiped the tears from her eyes. Och, in out of tight. She said it, on particular day, he heard Edwin calling him, yo, me man. Dysenga, someone's out there for you. It was the court. Dysenga shook his head, how did you offend me? They both said simultaneously, Ron. It had been a few months since they had seen each other, and she was at Ningano church and was happy, learning a lot of stuff that doesn't get either, but there was something about what she was telling him about the church that made doesn't have a feeling of uneasiness. They worked harder for a while and rekindled a lot of the old feelings they had for one another. They started making love, but Dazinga felt there was something about it that she felt it wasn't right. She started crying, and Dazinga quickly stopped. You never want you to feel this way again, however long it takes, you will wait. Deku had lost her job and her apartment, and the only thing that came to mind was him talking about Sabbath. Siva told him Evelyn with Dazinga and she started telling his roommates that they bed and breakfast about the church. Edwin enjoyed listening to her because she was bubbling but insisted that he worshipped it. His ancestors and trust was nothing more than a to him, like theirs. Dazinga and a few more saw the disappointment in her and the Vorinos went to church with her this Sunday. His enthusiasm started thinking about how everything was perfect for him and just wondered to be the way things were before. They will sit up late talking about old times, and he wrote, on Stone Road. He met a princess that became me queen, told us was listening understand what he meant. Taviter, it seems like it was forever. But it only lasted a few years. Sharing laughter, happiness, and tears. Everything was at first, like peaches and cream. But that is how it all starts, if you know what you mean. The love we shared was what I've always looked for. When she was depressed, he was there to relieve some of the stress. Cheered her up with the words of God. Those words will go so far. When he was down, she will be acting like a clown. Laughter from me will be so loud, you will somehow gather a crowd. Then and I, we had a big fight over something so petty. Now, there was someone else cheering her up with the words of God, calling me the devil. Evil and mean. She became pretty and all envious, so then you can't stand to see. You lost me prize, me princess, me queen. 5 years have passed, yet in still. When you dream, you see her smile, her laughter, her beautiful ease. Wishing you never lost her. Heaven spake for her, still in me heart. Being the first, to pull me apart from myself, from my fantasy. Made me feel reality. You don't know that she loved me, knowing that she did care. In my heart, I still hold the laughter, the craze. The dreams we shared, it was a heavy load when you lost me queen. On Stone Road. Dazinga went to the church, lobbying around who was puzzled because it was at a local Fiverster hotel in downtown Atlanta. They don't have a building. Deku smelled, no. Dazinga smelled, interesting, no overhead into words that the preacher said were not alarming to him. Still, the subject matter wasn't anything complicated, for he was talking about loving one another. But after the service, Dazinga asks, it's time to go, right? Deku said. Now we have to get into our grubs. Temen's grubs over there. Dazinga sighed, Temen's grub. Deku spoke to one of the gentlemen passing by. Excuse me, he's new here. Can you take him where he needs to be? The young man said. Sure, follow me. They entered the room down the hall. There were many ladies, and they sat down and started introducing themselves. It was Dazinga's turn, and he stood up. Hi, my name is Dazinga, and I'm here because my friend just started going to this church, and he just went to check it out. And he took a seat. A man stood up. Hey, I'm a kid. Do you want to be saved? Dazinga replied, you already have a personal relationship with my creator. Thank you for asking. Tim sighed, having a personal relationship with your creator is not enough. Dazinga had a look on his face. Excuse me? I beg to differ. Tim smiled. We will see if you goes to help you if you don't mind. Dazinga sighed. It is cool. I'll do it for Deku. 3 young men approached Dazinga and introduced themselves, and they rigged to meet up at a nearby park the next day. They met at the park of Camp Bolton Road, around noon. Dazinga smiled and took a seat in the park bench, and the 3 young, who were around his age, had their Bible in their hands again. They didn't call it the tour back then. They introduced themselves again. Glad you could make it. Dazinga smiled. No problem, but we did have to meet up. On gay who appeared to be the grab later side, we does to see where you stand with God and see where we can help you. Doesn't he hate a funny look in his face? Stand with God. Do you have a direct line to call to see if you and agree with him? Romans 10:10 tells me how to be saved, and I'm responsible for my own salvation, not you. Theo pulled out your Bible and searched for the scripture that doesn't get called out, as an often read the scripture reload, and doesn't who didn't bring his, but followed on with. On a figant woman next time. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is by believing in your heart that you are made right with God, and by openly declaring your faith that you are saved. Tim smiled, we are all guilty of sin, and we simply help each other where we can, by being supportive and encouraging each other. Dazing aside, you liked that more than what you said earlier. That call and all, but as sinners ourselves, we can't be judgmental of another man, when if also backfoot is in no point of view, can't even Peter led and was to faith, and he walked with trust. The young man sighed, to faith. What do you mean? When was Peter ever to faith? Doesn't guess how his head. When did it happen? It wasn't the book of Acts when Paul said something about it, and it's in Galatians 2:13, and it made a baby in trust because, and the quote in verse 13 itself had by their hypocrisy even Barnabas was led astray. Now, they'll have to wait on with everything he quote. We don't wanna feel like this said. Hey. Stopped himself from cursing, out of respect for them, and continued, we don't wanna feel like this stuff down. Really, the young men were baptized themselves, dancing aside, Peter, a Jew, had done way around that certain personal group of people, well called him Gentiles. He was nice and friendly, but on the other hand, when the people he normally hung around with came around him, less called the Jews, when he was with the Gentiles, he would act as if he was not with the Gentiles. The two groups were not supposed to aim with each other, and Saul, who was men and Paul, saw him being perfect and confronted him. Dazing aside. I'm sorry, you guys are babies in trust. Why did they say you told me? Everyone knows what Romans 10:10 says. The gatehead was leading it to go outside. I'm not a baby in trust, I've been saved for 3 years. Dazing aside, 3 years, you shall know what Romans says. The person got offended, and Dazing saw it in his face. Look, you don't go off how long a person has been saved, you go off on how much they have learned or the wisdom they have received. You know people who have been going to church all their lives and have learned nothing more than how to quote scriptures, especially Psalms and Proverbs. Then I know someone who was saved for a year, and his zeal for good had. And learning and researching the scriptures, he was certain that meant that had gone to church all his life. That's how you teach people, not you, teaching them, but rather they learn for themselves. Salvation is more than repeating what you heard from someone standing in front of the pulpit. But knowing what you know without doubting. That zeal draws you in like you mean it, and then God no longer becomes your God, but your friend. If you don't remember anything that I've said, remember this. Time in God says it, according to the word of God, a day shall be 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is unto a day. The person who was keeping notes by reading the scriptures down the other side, who had verses that. Dazing looked at him and smelled, 3,000 of years parties in 2 Peter cement. However, everything else is my words from my experiences. Look, all of us is praying in individuals' weaknesses, and it's their weakness, for every man has a weakness, and after a while, once you give in to that weakness, you'll allow the man who masters that particular weakness to come in. God looks at our heart and man looks at the outer appearance because we can't see a person's heart. Humans can't put an appearance but be a piece of thread. Doesn't you like it? Imagine a piece of thread in a dress. That is what we see. Human looked at doesn't you with a strange look, demons. The group leader said to the young man that came with him, demons just man's weakness. Doesn't you said, no, the hell it don't. The young man's a spiritual entity that comes in end. Passes you. In Mark 10:10, Jesus was telling to the demons. How do you think there is a God and angels in the world, but there is no devil with demons? You see how it got into the part about Lucifer and the fallen angels, 3 years. Guys and you looked at the person. Reading the scriptures down, Ezekiel 12:12 19 and Isaiah 14, 12, 14. Just like God has archangels and regal angels, the devil has imitated God with major demons, minions, and demon spirits. Wait about more Magdalene. See Westman possessed. Doesn't get out about Leviathan side, it know plenty of people just like you who feel that way, and very few people would think like you do, but it make him a lot of the people and they get their understanding from people just like you. But as the years go by, your kind of thinking is getting worse by the generations. The person who was leading the figure upside. You have to get back to you, and we can have another meeting in a few days. However, that person did not call Dasingia, another person did, and they set up a meeting a few days later. These people were much older than Dasingia and met at a park near downtown Atlanta. They introduced themselves with a smile. You must be the guy who President confessed our younger brother's interest, Dasingia said. Confess. The men started quoting scriptures, and Dasingia said, "It didn't come to debate God, or have a scripture quoting contest. It just came to see what made your friend was getting yourself into, and to be honest, you greaser is backward thinking. You greaser no more than a bunch of babies sticking babies, to blend leading to blend, and you know how that's going to end." The man asked, "How?" Dasingia lagged, in edit. Irritated, the man said, "Are you having sex with Dekwa?" Dasingia said, "That's none of your business. We will do you ask such a thing? Me give searches to heart and don't say things as men do because he's into a redeemer." The man said, "If you are having sex, you're sinning." "Yes, I'm saying." Dasingia went off. "If we were at war, will you take someone whose skills are in cooking, or maybe even in armachenic? Will you put him in the front line of a battle, not because you like men, but because you want him to die, so you can have her more his wife?" Davy did. Wait about Paul. Was he not a serial killer who loved murdering Christians? If someone is always drunk, is he a righteous person, like Noah? Elisha was chosen by God, was averted up for killing the children that mocked him. The man out of frustration, "That's not the same thing," Dasingia said of him. "Sin is sin, has the same sin as a murderer, and thus it was in Serico. There is no sin greater than another. Have you really about to get more money? Or maybe tell a bill call it you weren't at home?" A well-known prostitute had walked by him, and he said to him in the heat of the moment, "Wait if God told you to go marry a known prostitute. Well, do you do it?" Jose did it. Hell, Rahab was a prostitute. There is no person here in earth and not around me who is sinless. If you knew what your pastor did behind closed doors. Many will live a God, because your faith is in your preacher or pastor, not God. Frustration had kicked in, and Dasingia just walked off on his way home. He began waiting on the bus, saying, "You've got me mad." Him to death being said. Saying, "A man can live without sin." Are you crazy, or a fool? Who really needs to go back to school? Sin reigns in our lives until today we do because worthless. May leading, or sell the same as leading others to believe ill. 10. Theoritas who separate. David. We can't use the outside of the flesh. Seek knowledge, wisdom and understanding. That's being spiritual. Thinking outside of sin and thin you'll bend. See your faults, not others. For your life is yours, no one else's. Teach us who will listen, and let them say their ways, their sins. Ye have got them saying Baptist, Muslim, Presbyterian, Catholic, Jehovah's Witness. Train to us how which is better, what's the best. Wait as Eleha. Yesai, how Jevisadem. It is the same if you call upon his name, separating while he is trained to own it. Alone, endless fate. Reading, but don't understand. Speaking without wisdom, not knowledge. The people you teach only care because your faith is theirs. They don't have any faith of their own. They hang in every word out of your mouth, which is filled with lies. Following you everywhere, as the hear the Lord cries. They are following you to hell, false of folly of him. Saying, life is nothing but enjoyment, richness, and leisure. No pain. Are you insane or have you gone mad? How do they learn? When you have pain, real enjoyment is later gained. Understanding sadness brings about happiness. You learn, you understand. However, you burn in your lust. Lust, when it is conceived, it brings forth sin. Dazinga never returned to the church, but the course started asking people who live with them to go, and then if Dazinga's Hamid started going to the course church regularly with her. Dazinga had already lost her aunts, and when they came back, they will be talking and laughing, insecurities and jealousy kicked in, and they created a scene in front of them. She was not laboristic but mad. She packed her bags and left. Later on that day, the roommate approached him. All this time, you were talking about her. You will never try anything with her, plus we will talk about you more than the church. Embarrassed already, Dazinga said. I'm sorry, but when you lose someone and see that person laughing and joking with someone else, you was jealous. You overreacted. You don't like the church she goes to, and you have to let her go. Elevate with anybody, but you will never treat or fate God, says in his hands, especially now, cause you don't fucked up. Months went by, and still no decor. The person kicked in again, and Dazinga started drinking. On a night, he was lying in bed, or if he was sleeping. The room was wet and covered with clothes. He heard a voice, Dazinga. He stood up, and in front of him was a partitioner bought with a tall man wearing a wig sitting down. Have you said? The man sighed. He had been speaking to Dazinga, telling him things he needed to hear, but Dazinga did not hear a word he was saying. Dazinga cried, you will always be a servant for Sabbath, and that will never be any doubt, but will you ever see the Queen again? Dazinga asked. The man sighed. We will talk about that later, and he continued to talk to Dazinga, but Dazinga was not paying any attention. The man stopped and looked at Dazinga. You will see the Queen again, but it will be a while from now. Dazinga got excited. How long? The man frustrated, looked at Dazinga. You'll see her again. But the words he just ignored shall not be repeated. And Tyrone turned back to normal. Dazinga raised in his bed and looked around, then laid back down and drifted off to sleep. Months passed, and it went out that Dazinga was very knowledgeable about technology and encouraged him to attend college. And he signed up a few weeks later and started attending Atlanta Metropolitan College for Electronic Technology, but he had to transfer back to Southern University in Shreveport, Louisiana, to finish. He called the crew from the train station a few months before starting school. Crane, you realize that you have it all secured on your own. It cannot be forced. You will see God, and God will see you, but if you want better when he does, and he, to with help of God, have created a perfect woman, but for another man. It was the last time he heard from her until after those 30 years, of course, but he graduated from college in which she earned with 3 degrees in electronic technology, computer science, and in engineering and moved back to Atlanta. He searched for her for a month, trying to remember where her old college roommate lived, but he forgot her name and couldn't remember where she lived. He also went to Torrance last known address but had no luck. Sad and broken-hearted, he just went to work at Scottish Red Hospital and left his dreams behind him. Mammally was crying, and could shed tears in his eyes as well. Whatever happened to him? How was Justin born if they parted ways? Mammalian wiped the tears from her eyes and smiled. It was about 25 years later. Dazinga had married a woman who didn't respect him and had cheated on him more times than on he can count. He had 2 Jules, Nefis and Charlotte, and they separated, leaving Dazinga to raise the 2 Jules on his own. He had done one of those searches for the current internet and found her. She had moved back home to Thomas, after her father had died. They had not seen or heard from one another in 30 years. The couple had no children after all these years and was told that they couldn't, but by a miracle, they had a son, and in honor of his first son, he had never really had a chance to know. They named him Justin, and without the Justin none of us will be here today, he's our descendant. Mammalian goes truck and old trunk. Here it is, ik now. You put it here just for my story today. Look, he found this, and he didn't know when it was written. I'm using when he was in college, clearing your throat, it's called misdepend. These words of men come from deep within. Straight from the heart. Here's that situation, Taddy faint heart to deal with. Cows in work no love, until found it with you. Love like yours is truly missed, remembering your first dance, first fate. Our first kiss. March 23 1993. We first met, you was reading, your radio disc, at Southwest. My dream has come true. November 1995 was when my whole world became blue. Now, Jelly Cement 1999, the dreams are still here, but you are nowhere near. Wondering where you're you. Seeing your face, every time you close my eyes. Hoping it's not a dream, because of how real they seem. A Caribbean girl, once I'm a Caribbean queen. Now just a Marie in my dreams. He walks into park, they talks it last all night, gave me chills. Enjoy just calling your name. You called you did. May Eve, may queen, may everything. You word you whole world told me. Ik know Toviter, we made things happen. Thinking we hit a perfect bond. Young on, thinking we call win. What happened? Mistaken. Mamelin smelled, yasi, dancing morid de cour, and they had Justin named his firstborn after his father, Desnia, instead of a genie no the rest, cause said. Yes, ido dancing had Elena had namito. Cause looked at Mamelin, saying, you see because on man's love for his woman in a generation of fearless people for Seba. Cause stopped and asked, Mamelin. What happened to Ran? She smiled. Shortly after Desingen de Cour departed, hearing across Smitty, and Smitty informed Desingen that Ran was close at Ode and gave him his location. Desingen rushed to see Ran and convinced him to visit Levi's church. Ran had to in his chest and lost a lot of weight, hoping that Levi was still where he thought they were. They hid to her church, but they ridiculed Desingen for bringing him into their church. Disappointed and heartbroken, Desingen realized who Levi and their followers were for the first time, so he never saw them again, and when did a few months later fades. Mamelin shook her head, yep. Rubbing her eyes, Mamelin sighed, tacit for. Tonight, get you some rest, young man, I'll tell you about what I know of winning you, on tomorrow.